The Other Side of the Fence by Elissa S. Chapter 2. The school holidays seemed to be racing by. This week was no different. It really did fly. The blue house was neat, but the lawn needed trimming. The weather was hot, so the kids were off swimming. When the heat of the day had finally subsided, the Skinners emerged from where they resided. Out of nowhere they heard a very strange sound, so they stopped where they were and looked all around. With nothing in view, they just blamed the birds, so they jumped in their van without any words. As they drove away, the kids raced to the tree, but Tuck toppled over and skinned his left knee. He bit his top lip and kept on climbing. Jack tapped his watch as if he was timing. "Why is it such a big rush?" Tuck complained, grumpy that he was now being detained. "I want to swim. It's not my turn to watch." Then he scratched at the tree until he made a notch. "Anyway," said Ruby, "what's to report? Speak up now, Lily, and please make it short." You see, Lily was 4 and had so much to say that sometimes she got very carried away. She said, "How was the call? I tried my best. A cockatoo squawk was a bit of a test." What was I saying? Oh, yeah, they went out. Do you think I make a good treehouse scout? I kept watching and waiting, and I stayed put, even when I got this big cut on my foot. "Is that why you called us?" Sailor snapped. Then she pursed her lips that looked dry and chapped. "This whole thing is dumb. Why should we care what those people are like in that house over there?" "You know why, Sailor," Jack replied. "What if when you came we hadn't tried? Don't you remember what your life was like? You'd still be alone riding your trike." Was all that Sailor said. Then she turned away and lowered her head. "Let's have our meeting," Ruby directed. "We need to discuss all the data collected." "Data? What data?" Jonah began. "There are 5 of them and they drive a white van. They don't have pets. They barely come out. We've not heard a peep and their kids don't shout. I think they're weird. No one's that quiet. 3 boys who are neat. I really don't buy it." "Stop it now, Jonah," cried 6-year-old Freya. "You just need to look past the first layer." Then Jack interrupted. "Freya is right. We'll have to go in to have better insight. Go home, everyone, and tell all your folks. It's a drop-in play date. Bring food and tell jokes." The next day came, and so did the sun. But no kids were out to play and have fun. There were things to prepare, so everyone rushed to meet their new neighbours whose voices were hushed. Then, as if by magic, each door opened wide, and the armies within made their way inside. Will had been peering out onto the street, as his mum wouldn't let him out in this heat. He watched as 3 groups all joined into one. Then he ran to report like a dutiful son. "Mummy!" he cried. "You need to come quick. All our neighbours are coming. This isn't a trick." She let out a gasp and ran about cleaning. Then she lined up her troop for a last-minute preening. Harley opened the door, which spoiled the surprise of a lawn full of neighbours in front of their eyes. With a chorus of greetings and warm handshakes, the group piled in, bearing plates full of cakes. "We're the Pages," said Mister. "We've brought you a snack. Here's my missus, Lily, Ruby, and Jack. We live over there in house number 1. I built it myself, so it gets the best sun." Then before the Skinners could get a word in, the next group arrived with a bowling pin. "It's the Wilsons," said Mister. "We come with a gift. We should go bowling. I can give you a lift. Where are my manners? Please meet my wife, the mum of my kids and the love of my life." Speaking of kids, here's Jonah, me mate, and fast-talking Freya, who hates to be late. And just like before, they shuffled on past, leaving the largest family to last. "Make room for the Lovejoys," Mister bellowed, and the army inside instantly mellowed. "That's better, folks. Settle down and come in." Then he flashed the Skinners a cheeky grin. "Meet my better half, Mrs. Lovejoy, and her parents, Nanny and Poppy McCoy. Then our firstborn Sailor, who just turned 7, but likes to pretend like she's more like 11. Oops, we've lost one. Where is young Tuck? Come on in, son, but don't bring that duck. Now for the smallest, Reuben and Jess. I hope all this lot don't increase the stress. If they do, please join us tomorrow morn, when the missus does yoga out on our front lawn. Me, I think organic veg does the trick. You kids will grow tall and their hair will be thick. Here is a sample of things we have grown. We live off the land. Almost nothing gets thrown. Then Will checked outside before closing the door, hoping that there would be no more. With 22 bodies packed tight in one place, it was clear they needed a little more space. The Skinners looked pale and struggled to speak, so the kids all took off to have a quick peek. The house was neat and lacked sharp edges. The curtains were dull and had lace on the edges. There were child-proof gates and doors that were locked to ensure all escape routes for kids had been blocked. For the big kids, these gates weren't much of a test, and they set about teaching all of the rest. When finally they made it to the boys' room, the children were shocked by its darkness and gloom. "It's hot and it's stuffy," Sailor announced, "and this bed is so hard it needs to be bounced. Tuck, you start bouncing this bed over here, and I'll open the window to help the air clear." She raced to the curtains and flung them aside, then gripped the window and opened it wide. "That's a little bit better, at least we can see. Introductions now, people. Let's start with Pee-wee." "His name is not Pee-wee, it's Ethan," said Will, "and the window was closed so we don't get a chill. That bed is Harley's, and he thinks it's fine. Don't you think your behaviour's a bit out of line?" "We're here to save you," Jonah replied, "and it's boiling in here. I'm surprised you're not fried." Ruby stepped in to settle things down, saying, "Stop it now, Jonah, you're being a clown." "I'm so sorry that we've been very rude. Can I ask your name, or should I call you Dude?" "It's Will. I'm the oldest, at 6, said the boy. "That's Harley, he's 4, and Tuck's foot is on his toy. Ethan is shy because he is just 2, but if you are kind, he'll listen to you. Now why do you think that we need saving? We're allowed out if we've been behaving." Realizing things weren't going too well, Jack added, "Life on the lake can be swell." Then Ruby chimed in, "We're so glad that you're here, and we know you'll fit in. There's nothing to fear." The Skinner boys were now smiling at last, and they listened to Freya, who spoke very fast. "We can be friends if you want to play, but we must make a plan if you're here to stay." They spent a long time plotting and planning, at times interrupted by grown-ups scanning. When plans were in place and all were agreed, they went out the back for a play and a feed. The mothers were gathered, admiring food, which didn't seem to lighten the mood. Mrs. Skinner looked frazzled. She was in quite a state, and her boys were outside with no fence or a gate. Mrs. Wilson said, "Come on, your kids will be fine. The others will all help to keep them in line." "I don't like the lake," Mrs. Skinner explained. "The boys aren't good swimmers. They need to be trained." "Well, you're in luck," Mrs. Wilson informed. "My kids swim like fish, so they'll soon be transformed." That comment didn't help Mrs. Skinner relax. She gave a quick smile and got back to the snacks. "Wow, that was good," she said after eating. "Who made them to celebrate our first meeting?" "That would be me," Mrs. Page admitted. "Well, my oven baked it. I sat there and knitted." Mrs. Skinner looked shocked. "How do you find time? My kids keep me busy until bedtime." 3 kids are a rush," Mrs. Page agreed, "but I always make time for the things my heart needs. I really love to cook, sew and knit. I don't care if the house gets messed up a bit." Mrs. Skinner's eyes bulged at the thought of a mess. Then she ate some more dip with fresh watercress. "What is your job?" Mrs. Wilson asked, which made Mrs. Skinner chew very fast. Sorry," Mrs. Skinner replied. "My mouth was so full of the crackers I tried. I run a small business so I can stay home, selling nighties, slippers and pillows of foam. So if you need something, just let me know. I have samples here that I can show." "Enough about me. What is it you do?" "Wait, I can guess. Don't give me a clue. You're a real estate agent. That's got to be it. I've seen you come and go quite a bit." "I do work odd hours," Mrs. Wilson agreed, "but I teach aerobics at super high speed. Perhaps you might want to join our gym. It won't take you long to get tone and trim." Mrs. Skinner just smiled, and she put her cake down and said, "I'll just check my boys haven't gone to the lake." Before she could make it out the back door, all the kids ran in, tracking dirt on the floor. The room became hectic and full of noise. Mr. and Mrs. S ran around after their boys. All visitors stared at their arms flapped about, moving delicate objects while starting to shout. They both looked like hovering helicopters. If they weren't stopped, they'd be needing doctors. Mr. Page decided their welcome was worn after Lily was messily eating some corn. So he picked up Lily and tried cleaning the mess, but more fell down from her face and her dress. "I'm so sorry," he said. "I think we should go. I hope that in time our friendship will grow." Then they all started filing back out the front door, but that wasn't the end of what was in store. Mrs. Page was the last one ready to leave. It seemed she had one more trick up her sleeve. She gave Mrs. Skinner one more friendly smile and said, "You'll soon enjoy the lakeside lifestyle. All the kids will be starting school next week. I insist you come to my house for a peek. Just give me 1 week and I guarantee you'll embrace the mess and start feeling free." Then she turned and left after giving a wink, leaving poor Mrs. Skinner unsure what to think. The end.